This is a story about an unlucky person who wakes up and discovers that he has crossed the continent of Tivit. He obtains all the physical fitness and some equipment of the Destroyer Warrior and begins his legendary adventure on the continent of Tivit. Chapter 1. What to do when you wake up and find yourself in the coffin. You are listening at novelfull.audio. My name is Du-Mu, not Du-Mu. I am not the Tang Dynasty poet who was also known as Xiao Li Du, along with Li Shiyin. I am just an ordinary social animal named Du-Mu. Of course, I don't deny that my name is similar to the name of a game about the ultimate violent guy from the Mars Marines. To be honest, that's a compliment to me. I have also played that game before. To be honest, it was very refreshing. It can vent my dark side and anger all day long. But I really want to know why a voice told me that I have acquired the physique of that destructive man. I don't want to go to Mars. I have acrophobia. I don't want to go to hell either. More importantly, what does that tough guy usually eat to make a living? He doesn't know how to eat demons. Can that thing be eaten? How does it taste? Wait. This is not the point. Although the console's armor is cool, I don't want to go to hell. Although Doom is fun, it doesn't mean I want to become a spicy blue person. What if I make a mistake and get killed by a demon? Let me out. In the sarcophagus, the sound lasted for about half an hour before abruptly stopping like a video of suddenly pressing the pause button. It wasn't that the noisy creature inside was desperate, but rather the destroyer system and sarcophagus that forced the creature to sleep. It cannot be ruled out that this statement is too annoying, and the system cannot tolerate the possibility of forcing him to sleep. After an unknown amount of time, after hundreds of cycles of spring, summer, autumn, and winter, a ray of early morning sunlight suddenly penetrated into this tomb. Accompanied by the sunshine are the sounds of iron picks digging. The brothers have been stepping on some recently. This place is a relic and there is no relic guard. Just dig it directly. Is there really a treasure inside? Why am I a little scared? I'm afraid of you. My brothers are covering you. Just dig. A man who covered his mouth and nose with a scarf, dressed like a treasure robber in the game named Genshin Impact, waved his pickaxe and said to another fat treasure robber. Okay. With the waving of the iron pickaxe, the stones in front of the tomb were dug open, and in front of several members of the treasure-stealing group, there was a strange magic circle surrounded by 6 pointed stars painted with unknown red dye. In the center, or rather, at the position of the circle eye, there was a stone coffin placed, and behind the coffin, there was still a 6-pointed star magic circle painted on the wall, with a strange armor hanging at the position of the circle eye. On the ground next to the armor, there were some strange objects arranged in a disorderly manner. One of them was a stick with 2 pipes, and below it were 2 strange sharp, blade-like things. The appearance of the entire object looked somewhat like the weapons held by some soldiers called the Fool's Vanguard, who were deployed in the wilderness here in the Winter Kingdom, capable of firing bullets and making loud noises. This is like the weapon of those foolish people wearing high hats with red eyes shining in their eyes. This is definitely a good thing. If it were sold to the foolish people, it would definitely be a large sum of mora. I'll take this. A skinny member of the treasure-stealing group walked straight towards the weapon with a bright light in his eyes. Don't you take a look at what's inside first? If it's something valuable, wouldn't we get rich? The sturdy members of the treasure-stealing group said as they walked towards the coffin. However, as they stepped onto the 6-pointed star magic circle around the coffin, these two suddenly seemed to have been hit by an invisible fist and flew out of the tomb at a faster speed. Big Brother. The other treasure-stealing groups rushed out of the tomb and checked the injuries of the Big Brother and another person mentioned by the members of the treasure-stealing groups. These 2 people have passed out, with obvious bruises on their abdomen, but fortunately they fell onto the soft soil, so it was not a big deal. However, it was precisely because these 2 people came into contact with the magic circle that it failed. As a result, the lid of the sarcophagus slid open for a distance in a way that made Newton cry and faint in the toilet, then suspended in the air. Then, Newton fell back to the ground in a free fall, feeling pleased. Demon God. It's Demon God inside. We alarmed Demon God. Let's run quickly. Bowed twice towards the tomb, and the members of the treasure-stealing group picked up their sturdy big brother and left the ruins at an incredible speed that made Bolt exclaim. In this sarcophagus lies our protagonist, Dumu, who has obtained the complete physical condition of the destroyer. In this sarcophagus that has been sealed for countless years, he slowly opens his eyes. Then he closed again. I haven't slept enough, take another nap. System. When he woke up again, he found a strange creature standing beside him. With rabbit ears and bird beaks, swinging a branch back and forth with words in its mouth. This creature saw Dumu wake up, raised its hand, and shot an ice cone towards him. Dumu was shocked and didn't care about the chains tied in his hand. He raised his hand and blocked the ice cone, sweeping it to the side. Then he saw the wonderful, short, and magical humanoid creature, which froze for a moment, swallowed a mouthful of saliva, and stared intently at his arm. He only then realized that the chain that bound his arm had just broken free, and the iron ring that held him in handcuffs had been broken by himself. So he proceeded to break the chain of his other hand and said it was very easy. Damn it! How could humans be so strong? I must be having a nightmare. Abyss Mage shot out a few more ice cones, which were subconsciously swept open by Dumu. The remaining two collided with him and turned into shattered ice. Hiss. Dumu took a deep breath of air. Humph, foolish humans, know my harshness. It's so itchy. Dumu scratched his 8 well-defined and delicious abdominal muscles and muttered to himself. Did I undermine your confidence? Stupid humans. Don't be too arrogant. There were a few ice cones that completely inherited the journey of their predecessors and became shattered ice. And this Abyss Mage was also successfully cornered by Dumu. Damn. Seeing that his attack method was all wooden, the Abyss Mage prepared to teleport and escape. Unfortunately, it was 1 second late. Your attack, is it over? Dumu rushed forward and punched the Abyss Mage's head into his chest, ending his shameful life. It's my turn now, don't you have any objections? It's no use having objections. You hellish creatures should go down to the ground. Wait a moment. This is not a hellish creature, this is an abyssal mage. This is Tivit. There's no hell here. It's great. But the mountains here are all high. I changed my mind. This is not great. Dumu scratched his head and turned towards the coffin. According to the system, I have the complete physical condition of the destroyer himself, as well as some of his equipment. So I need to see what he gave me. I'm lying in a big groove. The Archbishop's armor. I'll go. This is really cool. Wearing the Archbishop's armor, Dumu looked at his exposed thick upper arm and lost in thought. How do I know how this thing is worn? There's no CG in the game where the destroyer wears clothes. Forget it, let's take a look at what other equipment there is. A super shotgun, great, but what's the surprise? It's even more explosive than the console's armor. Holly. The Judgment Sword. Cool. With these two, you can completely solve most close-range battles. Long range. Gone, there are no long-range weapons, but there's no need, after all, with the mobility of the destroyer. Gone, I'm afraid of heights. Shaking his head, putting away his ruling sword, holding a super shotgun, Dumu arrived outside the tomb. System, are you there? I'm here, what's up? The voice of a reliable 50-year-old middle-aged man came to his ear. You said I have the physique of a complete destruction warrior, but just now those ice cones hit me and I didn't feel anything. Ah no, it's a bit itchy. I think you must be playing games foolishly. This is not a game, it's reality. There is no health, armor, and gameplay. Games need to be balanced, but reality doesn't require gameplay. That is to say, I am now the invincible destroyer who, in terms of setting, single-handedly pierces through hell, possesses endless stamina and endurance, and can absorb the power of his defeated subordinates. Yes, after all, I am bound to you. If you die, I won't have to. So you gave me such an invincible setting. Yes, are there any other questions? It's temporarily gone. After thinking for a moment, Dumu finally sorted out the fact that he had been understanding since waking up for the first time and now fully understood it. He put away his super shotgun and walked in a direction. There, he seemed to see a beach. Chapter 2. The Man of Destruction and the Golden Traveler. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Due to being completely unfamiliar with this place, Dumu headed towards the beach. It cannot be said that he is completely unfamiliar, only that the starting point is unclear, and Dumu is also completely unable to distinguish the southeast, northwest, and northwest. Therefore, the plan to know this land also needs to be put on hold for a while. But going to the beach is something that must be done, after all. Sand is very fun. But before heading to the beach to become the son of the beach, Dumu saw a blonde woman and her flying pet not far away on a wall that needed to jump down and climb up. Is it a demon? The flying little thing hid behind the blonde woman, who pulled out a sword made of extremely ordinary or even inferior material, pointing at Dumu with a serious expression and great vigilance. Cough. Hello, first of all, The monster is talking, the little thing hid behind the blonde woman, trembling and shouting. Dumu took off his helmet, revealing his face as resolute as a knife cut. Then he said, first of all, I am not a monster. In terms of universal reason, I am human. Secondly, my name is Dumu, and Du is the azalea. It seems that there may not be azaleas here. Du is a wooden soil dew, and wood is a wooden wood. Come, I'll give you a hand. Dumu put on his helmet again and extended his hand to the traveler who had already put away his sword and was preparing to climb the high platform. Thank you, my name is Ing and I am a traveler. This is Pai Meng. Ing nodded at Dumu. I am the best guide for travelers. Pemin proudly straightened his chest. It's really great, I also want to have such a trip. But unfortunately, before I came here. Although it could be considered a trip. That kind of trip is still okay. Dumu thought for a while, and for some reason, he didn't intend to telling his true identity. Instead, he planned to tell her another identity. Before coming here, I traveled to hell for a period of time, and the experience during that time was very scary. Earth. Hell. Pemin hid behind the traveler again. Yes, hell is full of all kinds of demons, and in order to survive, I can only fight against those demons. Those demons. They want to kill me, they want to invade my hometown, and in order to stop them, I fought them to the death. But when I was about to kill through hell, I was stopped, and they sealed me in a stone coffin. When I woke up, I was here. Dumu, who was chatting with Ing, helplessly spread his hand. And I can be certain that this is not my hometown, said Dumu, pointing to the statue of the 7 heavenly gods in the distance. My hometown doesn't have that kind of thing. Aren't you from this world too? Ing asked. Are you also? I am not from this world either. When my brother and I were preparing to leave for the next world, we were stopped by a strange deity. We fought against that deity, but in the end, my brother was taken away and I was also sealed, losing our original strength. Ying's expression was somewhat low. So you're planning to travel to various countries, find your brother, and explore clues to that unfamiliar deity. Ing nodded. You will definitely find your brother. Parman encouraged. That's right, I believe you can definitely find your brother and also find clues to that unfamiliar deity. Dumu gave a thumbs up. Thank you. By the way, since I don't know what I'm going to do and I don't have any goals, can I travel with you? Oh, don't worry, I can handle everything about combat. I have confidence in combat and can at least protect myself and you. Dumu gave another thumbs up. Okay, Ing and Pai Meng shook hands with Dumu one by one. Tip. Destroyer has joined the team. Now publicly available intelligence. Name. Dumu title. Destroyer location. Earth HP at %# defense. At 5% attack power. %% G** character rarity. After resonating with the deity, Ing gained the power of wind elements. Dumu also wanted to join in the fun. He put his hand on the deity and nothing happened. I see, only you are special. Like ordinary people in this world, it's not easy to have power. Although, I don't really need this kind of power. Ing thought for a moment, and a gentle breeze appeared on her palm, blowing towards Dumu. Okay. Isn't it just the wind? I can control it too. Dumu's anger rose from his heart, and evil grew towards his gallbladder. He took off his helmet and turned towards Ing, blowed out a breath. Ing. Paimon, even mortals can master elemental power without needing to resonate with deities. But my wind is quite strong. Dumu took a deep breath. Okay, I can't blow such a strong wind, you won. Dumu spread his hand. Alright, Xiao Du, if you can't use the wind elemental power, then you can't use it, but you must be able to master other elemental powers. Pai Meng patted Dumu's shoulder. Well, thank you, Pemon. What does that little Du mean? Dumu expressed confusion. My research with Ing has decided. Let's use Xiao Du as our nickname for you. Pai Meng and Ing crossed their hips, showing a disdainful expression. When did this happen? Just now. Forget it, as long as you two are happy, Dumu shrugged. After continuing their journey, the three of them encountered some giant dragons that only appeared at the end of the Dragon Quest story. Oh my goodness, a living dragon. I never thought I would actually see it with my own eyes. And that green person. He can actually talk to the dragon. Dumu said in shock, pretending to be seeing it for the first time. It's really big. Ing and Dumu hid behind a tree, while Dumu stared at the green-barred Wendy with wide-open eyes. Don't be afraid. Don't worry, I'm back. At this moment, green light appeared on Ying's body, and the wind element seemed to resonate with the beautiful dragon. The dragon was startled, and he roared and waved his front paw towards the bard. The bard only jumped back and dodged. The bard was dissatisfied with interrupting his conversation with the dragon. Who? He turned around and saw Ing and Dumu wearing strange armor next to him, as well as Pai Meng in his arms. He frowned and slowly retreated, emitting a suspicious green light all over his body. Then, he turned into light and disappeared. The dragon also roared at the three people, then waved its wings and flew away in the strong wind. Ha! The wind was so strong just now that I almost got blown away. But it's okay, thank you, Xiao Du, for holding on to me, otherwise I would really get blown away. It's okay, and Pai Meng is soft and comfortable. But I'm not a pillow, am I? Pillow. Ing, in the future, you can hold Pemon while sleeping. It's very comfortable, warm, and soft. I'm so angry. I'm not a pillow. I'm going to give you an unpleasant nickname. I can't think of it, I'll let you go this time. I really have to thank Lord Xiaopaming for having a lot. Hey! Come and take a look, what's this? Ing, standing on a high platform in the distance, asked the two of them. The two of them quickly arrived at the platform and looked at the stone in the shape of a water droplet, emitting a strange red light. I've never seen such a stone before, it gives people a feeling. So dangerous. Let's save it for now. Pemon suggested. After putting away the strange stones, the few people continued to walk forward. Then they encountered. Chapter 3. The Man of Destruction and the Red Rabbit. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hey you guys. Wait a moment. A voice came from not far away, getting closer and closer. Then, the three of them saw it, a red little rabbit jumped down. Red little rabbit. Dumu exclaimed in surprise. It's not a rabbit, retorted the girl wearing a red headdress in front of her. Oh, sorry, you keep going. May the wind god bless you, strangers. I am Amber, a reconnaissance knight of the Westwind Knights. You are not citizens of Mond, are you? Please explain your identity. Parman. Calm down. We're not suspicious individuals. Dumu. Calm down, Red Rabbit. We are not suspicious individuals. Ing looked at the two people and said, calm down. We're not suspicious people. It's not a rabbit. I'm a human. Amber stomped his foot and bared his teeth at Dumu. I'm sorry, because you really look like a cute little rabbit, so. I'm sorry. Forget it. Suspicious individuals would say that. Hello, I'm Ing, a traveler. This is Pai Meng, an emergency food, and this is Dumu, my companion. Not at all. It's the best companion for travelers, isn't it? Me. I am a Doom warrior, the best companion for travelers. Good. Pai Meng and Dumu clapped high-five to celebrate the birth of the Chinese Revolutionary League, the best companion of travelers. Ignoring the playfulness of these two people, Amber and Ing continued their conversation. In summary. It's a traveler, right? There have been dragons appearing in Mond recently, so it's better for you to enter the city as soon as possible. It's not far from Mond here, so let me, as a knight, escort you on the way. Hey. You're out of town, don't you have any other tasks? Pai Meng asked in confusion. Of course there is, but don't worry, we will also protect your safety on the mission. And I can't leave suspicious people unattended. This kind of address is impolite to guests. Ing was somewhat dissatisfied. It's impolite. This is not the proper language for an excellent knight. I apologize to you, strangers and respected travelers. That's pretty good. Shao. Amber. I'm not a little rabbit. On the way towards Mond, several people were chatting and laughing while discussing. So, who gave the name Doom Warrior? Parman spread his hand. That's the nickname given to me by the demons of hell. Hell. Devil. Is Tiva unique to this place? I am from outside the world, just like Ing, Shao Amber, the demons of hell are invading my homeland. In order to stop them, I can only be forced. Forced. Amber wondered, forced to stop them. I can only be forced to invade their homeland. While carrying out the plan to pierce through hell, those demons began to call me Destroyer. This is a very tragic and extremely passionate story. No, as you say. It's the devil who is tragic, and you who is passionate, right? Amber covered his forehead, feeling a bit tired. It's from Chocho. Pai Meng pointed to a strange creature patrolling ahead and patted Ying's shoulder. Don't let him go. Amber took out Count Rabbit. 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 Dumu wanted to say something. However, Amber slapped the mask on the helmet. I'm not a rabbit. Although I look like a rabbit wearing a headdress, I'm glad you said I'm cute, but I'm really not a rabbit. This is Count Rabbit, and this is actually a little rabbit. Amber stopped what Dumu wanted to say. Okay, I'm sorry. As compensation, let me stop this Chio person. Dumu took out his super shotgun and quickly approached the Chio man using its hook and claw. Then, amidst the Chocho man's screams, the super shotgun spewed out angry fire snakes, engulfing the poor Chocho man. This poor creature didn't even know who killed him or how he died. The terrifying firepower of the 2 rounds of the super shotgun had already shattered its upper body and evenly spread it on the ground. The lower body collapsed on the ground without the core of the upper body, and a large amount of blood began to spray out. Ah, there are 3 more, great. The fierce man changed the ammunition of his super shotgun, put it away, clenched his fist, and made a karaoke sound. So, Dumu ran towards the watchful Chocho man on the high platform. The Chocho man had a crossbow in his hand, and as a long-range shooter, this targeted creature must be eliminated in the first time. The remaining Chocho man with the stick only needed to slowly kite and consume it. Dumu jumped into mid-air with the help of the console's armored jet backpack, and then quickly approached the Chocho people using the function of the jet backpack. This Chocho person can be considered to have completely seen the full face of this enemy, and he has been trying to aim, but unfortunately the enemy's mobility is too good, the approaching speed is too fast, and there was no time to put the sight on this monster wearing strange armor. He was punched in the face by this monster, and his mask was shattered. Then he was kicked away and fell, with the back of his head falling on a stone, causing the skull to break. It's hopeless. Then the man jumped off the high platform and stepped on the nearest Chocho person. The weight of the console's armor is not light, and coupled with the heavy and thick muscle mass of the fierce man himself, this trampled Chocho person felt that his internal organs were displaced and shattered. After spitting out a mouthful of blood, he felt a huge force coming from the back of his head, and this Chocho person knew nothing because the man had crushed his head. It's as simple and easy as stepping on a balloon. Dumu. Be careful behind. Amber shouted. Dumu expressed confusion, but then he understood what was happening. The remaining Chocho man jumped up and hit him hard on the back of the head with his wooden stick, attempting to transmit power to the destroyer's back of the head through his helmet in this way. Dumu touched the back of his helmet and turned to look at this creature, which, although somewhat common sense, had encountered the destroyer, a creature that cannot be measured by common sense or common sense. The console's armor. Kid. He punched his head into his chest, ending his miserable life. Do you know what? I'm starting to believe in him killing through hell, Amber said to Ing, who was also somewhat stunned. Then the bodies of these Chocho people disappeared. Recently, these monsters from the wilderness are approaching the city, and my task this time is to clear their campsite. However, you have already solved it. I didn't expect your combat power to be so strong, and I'm starting to believe your story. Oh, what I said is true. It means that doom really pierced through hell. Hee. It's not that I don't want to believe you, it's just that your story is really too strange, after all. Preventing the enemy from invading actually relies on invading enemy territory. This is also unbelievable. Although it is indeed the case, if we don't kill all hell, they will continue to invade my hometown. Only by turning me into their nightmare and killing them all can we stop their invasion of my hometown. It's like sneaking in, killing all those who see us, and no one will see us. This is perfect sneaking in. The fierce man crouched. Although I can't find anything wrong with what I said earlier, I don't know where I got it right. Forget it. In short, thanks to your help, Dumu, I have also gained a lot today recently. Wind demon dragons have frequently appeared, orchards have been destroyed, commercial routes have also been affected, and when storms break out, people are often injured. So the knights need to be distracted and defend, Amber explained. So are these annoying creatures getting closer and closer to their range of activity? Pemon took the conversation and asked. Yeah, but I cleaned up another campsite today and still gained a lot, even though I didn't contribute. Come with me. Serious and responsible little. The good knight is going to escort you into the city. Staring at the destroyer, Amber took Ing to the city of Mond. If it weren't for this man constantly calling himself a little rabbit, he wouldn't have made a slip of the tongue just now. Humph, I've taken note of this grudge. But in Dumu's eyes, Amber's action was completely harmless, just as cute as an angry little rabbit stomping hard and making a sound to express its dissatisfaction. Soon, they arrived on the continent of Tivit, representing the free city-state of Mond. Chapter 4. The Man of Destruction and the Storm. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Mond, the continent of Tivit, represents a free city-state and a city of wind and pastoral songs. But due to the rampant wind and demon dragons, the atmosphere in the city is not very beautiful now. But at least it's not very oppressive. When Dumu arrived at Mond, he proposed to take a stroll on his own, and then ran away, unable to stop him. He ran to the clock tower and climbed to the top, overlooking the entire city of Mond. The Mond in the game looks very small, but when Dumu really overlooks Mond, he realizes that although Mond is a city in a lake like in the game, its actual area is several times larger than in the game. The map of Mond City has been drawn, and you can view the mini-map in the upper right corner of the Helmet UI, or call me to open a detailed satellite map for you. The system fell into silence after speaking, really quiet. To be honest, if you speak less I would be a little happier, the system suddenly said. It's impossible, don't even think about it. You can't deprive me of the right to speak. If you make me shut up, I really have nothing left. Although talking to myself is strange, it's better than being silent all the time. That way, I will go crazy. Although you gave me the body of a destroyer, you can't turn me into a destroyer. A destroyer is a destroyer, and I am myself. Okay, then the system calmed down again. After finishing the conversation with the system, Dumu checked the ammunition in the barrel of the super shotgun and confirmed the hook claw. Then, he looked up at the sky. What's going on? It was still daylight just now, and now it's dark like this. Tivit, time flies so fast. Before he could finish speaking, with a roar, a huge black figure appeared in the distance, rapidly approaching towards this place. Oh. It's not dark anymore. It's the wind dragon. The thick gift crab. It looks really big up close. The wind demon dragon flew into the air, roaring and triggering a strong wind. These strong winds curled up and turned into tornadoes, dragging the fleeing Ying below into the tornado. Fortunately, Amber played a role in giving the traveler the wings of the wind just now. She is now flying high in the air and fighting against the dragon. Ing. Look. There seems to be something on the back of the wind demon dragon. Got it. Ing decisively fired a series of wind bombs at the dark green thing. Unfortunately, the effect is not very significant, but Ing believes that as long as you keep shooting at that dark green thing, you will definitely gain something. As expected, the dragon roared and began to climb vertically, while the dark green object on his back was also on the verge of collapse. However, the distance was too far and the speed of the wind demon dragon was too fast, so Ing finally stopped attacking and watched the giant dragon in the sky soar away. The traveler who repelled the dragon slowly fell to the ground, and Amber quickly ran over to check Ying's body for any problems. On the other side, a handsome black-skinned man wearing an eye mask slowly walked over, clapping his hands and saying, "You have the power to fight against dragons. You are ours." Unfortunately, before he could finish speaking, he was interrupted by another voice. Doom Layer. Incoming. The handsome black-skinned guy looked up and immediately took 2 steps forward before rolling forward. Then, the shouting meteorite fell to the ground with a loud bang. Shao. I forgot that I have acrophobia. I won't fall to death, will I? Gone, I just woke up not long ago. I don't even need a girlfriend. I don't need this for the time being. I'm not even old enough to date. I don't have much money, and I haven't fulfilled my dream of swimming in the sea of money yet. As soon as he landed, Dumu began to chatter to himself. Although we didn't know how many strange things were in his little head, if we didn't interrupt his words in the current situation, no one knew what he would say next. Dumu, are you okay? Ing ran over to help Dumu, who had smashed a big hole in the ground, and asked. Ming. Have you come to accompany me? Are you afraid I'll be alone in heaven? Thank you, Ing, you're so kind. What are you talking about? We're still in Mond. Just now, the Wind Demon Dragon attacked Mond City, and I drove away the Wind Demon Dragon. As soon as it landed, you fell off. Where did you go? How could it fall from the sky? Heaven. Heaven. Oh, gone. The cunning Wind Demon Dragon brought a helper. I just climbed onto the back of the Wind Demon Dragon to prepare to keep it away from the city, but the helper invited by the Wind Demon Dragon kept shooting at me. Although it didn't feel at all, it was very annoying. Later, I was so disturbed that I couldn't even catch it, so I fell from the sky. To be honest, unprotected parachuting is really enjoyable, but don't try it casually. I'm fine probably because my body is different from ordinary people. After all, what's wrong with Ing? Why so much sweat? Dumu took out a tissue and wiped it off for Ing. Sweat. Maybe it's because. Just now I went to stop the Wind Demon Dragon. And his accomplices. It's so hot. Haha. It's really hot. Ha ha ha. Ing fanned herself and smiled very reluctantly. The Wind Demon Dragon is directly attacking the city, which is not a good omen. Ing, Dumu, Kaya, let's hurry. It's okay, Dumu, please rest for a while. It's okay, I'm doing really well now. After all, this is not the first time I've done extreme sports, refers to playing human cannons in the game. Okay, it's not too late. Let's hurry up. Wait, Amber, there are still some people here who can get to know each other in time. The handsome black-skinned guy named Kaya hugged his chest with both hands, looking very dio. Okay, this is Kaya, the cavalry captain of the Knight's Order. These three are travelers from afar, Ing, Dumu, and Pai Meng. The situation is like this. I see, welcome to Mond, but unfortunately, it's at such a bad time. I understand the pain of separation by blood, traveler. Also, although I don't know why you're looking for the Wind God, everyone has their own secrets, don't they? And for your story. I'm sorry, I can't understand it, it's just too magical. I can't imagine it. In short, on behalf of the Knights, I would like to express my gratitude to you. You're welcome. So what's to eat today? Dumu patted his stomach. Yes, I'm also very concerned about this issue. Pai Meng jumped out at the right time and brushed off a wave of presents, then was held in the arms of a fierce man and pinched his chubby face. Mond's signature honey sauce and carrot fried meat. It sounds very appetizing, so let's go and taste it quickly. Okay. Ing covered her face, intending to treat them as strangers. We can talk about the meal later. The protected citizens witnessed the battle just now, and the acting commander is also very interested in the three of them. He hopes to have a chat at the headquarters of the Knights. Kaya patted Dumu's shoulder. Dumu glanced at Pai Meng, then at Ing, and sighed. Parman, it seems that our plan to slaughter the hungry demon has to be temporarily put on hold. There's nothing I can do, after all, this is also something I can't do, even though I have more strength to work after eating. Pai Meng spread out his hand. Alright. Let's go. Target. Knight's headquarters. Dumu raised a fist. Let's go. Pai Meng also cheered along. I don't know them. Ing covered her face and hid behind an bai. Chapter 5. The Man of Destruction and the Knights. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Knight's Order. It's really impressive. It's so big. Ing, you guys go inside. I think the leader of the Knight's Order may be looking for you, but I'm just a passing person. After all, you're the one fighting against the wind demon dragon, and I'm just lying on his back, fishing in the muddy water. Hurry up and don't let that leader wait. I'll take a look in the hull. Corrected, it's the acting team leader, Kaya said and entered the office with Ing and Paimon. Okay, acting captain. Dumu began to pace and observe in the Hall of the Knights. 4 winds guarding the temple. If you decide, then go ahead. After all, I don't have anything else to do, so it's good to go for a stroll. Hey, Xiao Du, we are going to fight, not go shopping, please be serious. Paimeng roast. You make sense, it's not too late. Let's hurry up and make a quick decision. The fierce man grabbed Kaya and ran towards the outside of the city. Both of them had good foot strength and quickly arrived at the temple gate of the Wolf of the North Wind. It feels very lively inside. Kaya touched her chin. It's just a mob, the fierce man shrugged and took out an object from behind that looked like a divine light stick. Oh. A very bold speech, truly worthy of the calamity of hell that has pierced through the entire hell. I don't remember having that title. I gave you a nickname based on your story, Kaya spread out her hand. How about I have a better, Destroyer Warrior? I still feel that. Alright, don't worry about the title anymore, just call me the Destroyer Warrior. Dumu pushed open the door of the temple in front of him. After passing through the narrow corridor, the two of them saw many hill people and many slimes. Has this monster from the wilderness been stationed in this ancient temple? It's really blasphemous. Dumu raised the strange object in his hand. What is this? Don't tell me it's a powerful weapon, Kaya jokingly pointed to the object in Dumu's hand. You guessed it right, this is an extremely powerful weapon. How do I feel like I'm not as powerful as your weapon with hooks and claws? How can this weapon attack? Shoot something out like that one that can make a loud noise. On the way here just now, Dumu had already demonstrated his strength and weapons. This weapon, which can instantly shatter the upper body of a hill person, although not as powerful as Kelly's bouncing bomb, its visual impact is definitely not as small as the bouncing bomb's visual impact. And now with another strange weapon, Kaya consciously compared the appearance of the two weapons. No, just look at it and you'll know. Dumu rushed down the stairs, lifted his foot, and stomped on a water slime, causing the condensate to burst everywhere. Oh. It's such a powerful way of attacking. It's truly a man who can be called Doom. And the fierce man's foot also served as a signal of attack, as the people of Chiochio raised their weapons and rushed towards the intruder. Ha, that's convenient too. I don't need to go find you all one by one. He grabbed the handle with both hands, and the strange weapon unfolded. A semi-transparent sword with a red light spread out, with a hooked blade extending to both sides at the top. The sword body was also filled with unknown obscure runes, and it was constantly releasing red lightning around, making people feel very oppressive. Then the fierce man turned around and the horizontally placed blade easily cut through the bodies of those monsters, as if there were no bones in the flesh, and what he cut was not flesh, but soft and fragile pieces of tofu. The remaining slime was also soaked in rain and dew. The larger slime split open with a ruling sword, while the smaller slime either stomped on it or punched it with a hammer, with condensation everywhere on its body. After the fierce man finished his cleaning task, Kaya walked down the steps, applauding and admiring. Although your battle may be said to have no skills, in your power, skills are probably not very needed. With a shrug, Dumu put away his ruling sword and walked towards their target location. Just because the power of these monsters is too weak, I don't need to use any skills. If time is not tight, I would choose to use that shotgun one by one to slowly solve it. By the way, what was the name of that sword just now? This weapon is called the Judgment Sword, which is the ultimate weapon that can only be wielded by the Warrior King. Usually, this weapon is used to deal with creatures like Titan demons that are tens or even hundreds of meters tall. Titan demons cannot be killed, but the judgment sword can make them stop moving. When the blade is on them, they do die, but once the blade is removed, these demons will quickly come back to life. Dumo casually said, although even if Kaya knew about these things, it was of no use. After all, there are no demons in this world. Subsequently, the two quickly resolved the traps along the way and arrived at the deepest part of the Wolf of the North Wind Temple, a green stone entwined with the power of wind elements. After shattering the stone with one punch and liberating the power of the wind element on the stone, the journey of the Wolf of the North Wind Temple has also reached its end. And Kaya was preparing for the aftermath work when the fierce man had just stepped out of the last room with 1 foot when he suddenly stopped and turned back. I smelled a nauseating and strange odor, and I've also felt it recently. It was some short, strange furry creature with rabbit ears and bird beaks. As soon as the words fell, a smirking water abyss mage emerged from behind the pillar and threw a ball of water towards Dumo, successfully washing away the slime that had covered the entire body of the fierce man from hitting slime. "Thank you, master." "You're welcome, warrior." Then Dumo quickly approached the abyss mage with a jet backpack and punched him flying into the wall. Before the abyss mage could land, the fierce man stepped on his head with a foot. With a sound similar to a watermelon explosion, the headless corpse fell to the ground, with a footprint and an indescribable red graffiti on the wall. "Actually, you are the devil." Kaya looked at the headless corpse, then at Dumo, and then at the graffiti on the wall. After thinking for a moment, she came to this conclusion. How can we see it? After all, according to fairy tales and fables, demons always seek revenge for their kindness. In terms of universal rationality, it is true, but the fact that I am grateful to him and I killed him is not contradictory. And if I don't kill him, there will also be others who will kill him. Am I right, Kaya? That makes sense. So, the next step is the real aftermath work. The Traveler and Amber are probably cleaning up the Temple of the West Wind Eagle, and now there should still be a Temple of the South Wind Lion, which Miss Lisa is responsible for. I know, go over now. So the fierce man turned around and ran away towards the original path. What an impatient person, the map is still here with me. Kaya helplessly covered her forehead. However, he ran so fast, probably knowing how to get to the Temple of the Lion of the South Wind. Kaya shrugged and put away the map. 2 minutes later, the fierce man successfully returned to the deepest part of the temple and obtained the map in Kaya's hand. Dialect. What about my role? Chapter 6. Destroyed Man and New Toys. You are listening at novelfull.audio. With the strength of a fierce man's foot, he easily arrived at the Temple of the Lion of the South Wind. At the entrance of the temple, he saw the purple elder sister. Lisa. Ha! Did you clean up the Temple of the North Wind Wolf so quickly? It doesn't seem like this place will take too long. Lisa yawned lazily and said. It's just a bunch of ragtag people. Cleaning up those monsters is like taking a glass of ice water from a new paper cup and drinking it in the hot summer, as easy and enjoyable. Dumu spread out his hand and happily made a metaphor. That's an interesting metaphor, Lisa stretched lazily, revealing her beautiful figure. Hurry up and solve it. After solving it, you can take a little rest. Dumu clenched his fist and said with an unstoppable momentum, leave it to me. Then he rushed into the temple ahead of the others. You're really impatient, big guy. After easily tearing apart the hills and slime along the way, Dumu and Lisa arrived at the second to last hall closest to the final target room, where they saw several abyssal mages. Is this annoying creature even here? Dumu flew the ice cone thrown by the ice abyss mage. Yeah. Did you also encounter the abyss mage in the Temple of the Wolf of the North Wind? It seems that the story behind the Wind Demon Dragon incident is not that simple. These annoying flies. Dumu grabbed the ice cone thrown by the ice abyss mage again, violently inserted the ice cone into the fire abyss mage's head, then kicked him away with a second kick. Then he turned around and took out his super shotgun, shooting it casually. A water abyss mage's upper body, which had flashed by, was evenly coated on the ground. Stupid humans. It's time for you to take a look at the weapons we found in those blood and fire dimensions. Take action. Stupid humans. This is a surprise for you alone. Jia jia jia. With the laughter of the abyss mage, a twisted portal opened and an abyss apostle walked out of it, holding a handful in his hand. Dumu didn't have time to see the look of the weapon, but he knew that with the help of this weapon, the battlefield had changed from Genshin Impact to modern war. Almost as soon as the apostles of the abyss walked out, Dumu stood up and picked up Lisa next to him. He quickly used the claws of his super shotgun to nail the wall of the corridor and left the room. Then he heard a loud noise. Dumu turned around and saw that there were many bullet holes on the wall behind where they had stood before. Holy crap, it's a shotgun. Don't move here, I'll take care of that thing and come back immediately. After speaking, he ran out holding up his super shotgun. Here BGM. The only thing they fear is you. As soon as he entered this room, the apostle of the abyss pulled the trigger on him. Unfortunately, Dumu's movement speed was too fast, and even shotguns with a wide range of bullets could not catch up with him. As is well known, it is very uncomfortable to have small monsters around during battles with bosses, which greatly reduces the gaming experience. So Dumu's goal is the remaining 2 abyss mages. But unfortunately, the apostles of the abyss also knew of his intentions, so they continued to pull the trigger of the shotgun. The strange shotgun has 3 barrels, and by rotating the barrel, it continuously pours firepower towards the destroyer, achieving the goal of blocking the destroyer's movement. At first, Dumu was really caught up in this mode. He was seriously thinking about the optimal route to avoid the shotgun, and by constantly flashing and moving in the air, he was able to reduce the hit rate of the abyss apostle. Unfortunately, this plan fell through. But soon, the fierce man came up with another solution. That's it, no matter what weapon you use, just face it and execute it. And I won't get hurt at all, what are you afraid of? The most important thing is, Doom Slayer. Do you only know how to dodge? The inscription says you slaughtered hell for 3 whole eras. But now you can only dodge back and forth like a mouse, it's really funny. Ha ha ha. So Dumu, who had figured it out, stopped dodging and slowly walked towards the apostle of the abyss, step by step with his head down. Ho ho, no longer running away, but walking towards me. Wait. Why didn't you react? This weapon is very powerful. What's going on? That's really strong, but it's a pity. You found the wrong opponent. The fierce man showed a healthy and sunny smile, facing the continuous attack of the revolver, and rushed to the face of the abyssal apostle. He grabbed the weapon with one hand, stepped on the side of the abyssal apostle's knee joint with one foot, making a crisp bone fracture sound, forcing the abyssal apostle to kneel on one knee in another way. Then, the fierce man grabbed the abyssal apostle's neck and lifted it with force. With the crisp sound of bone fractures and liquid spraying, the abyssal apostle's head was torn off from his body, and he was casually thrown away like garbage by the fierce man. Under your feet, step on it. This sentence, give it back to you. Take the call. Stupid wizard. Holding a new toy, the fierce man eagerly pulled the trigger towards the ice abyss mage who had just been throwing ice cones at him. After more than 20 explosions, a complete piece of meat could no longer be found on the ground. Then, he turned his gaze to the remaining stunned mage from the Thunder Abyss. He grabbed the abyss mage by the neck and said, "Tell your master that if you want to deal with me, it's better not to come with a mob like you. Find some truly valuable opponents." Then he casually threw the abyss mage to the ground. Then, he went to the next room and punched the stone entwined with the power of the wind element, causing the fierce man to fold back into the corridor. Has everything been resolved? The fierce man nodded. It's really fast, so I have more time to rest. Over Mond City, the gloomy sky and the tornado composed of wind elements quickly dissipated due to the loss of power supply. After less than an hour, the subsequent impact caused by the dragon disaster was contained. Due to the quick handling and the strong support of a strong man, although there are still some economic losses, they are still within an acceptable range. On the mountain near Mond City, a blonde boy dressed in a style similar to Ing stood on the mountaintop, overlooking Mond City from afar. "Your Highness, Your Highness. Your Highness has failed." The stranger mentioned in the inscription, who is called the Destroyer Warrior, is too powerful for us to compete with. The stranger also said, "To deal with him, we need to find some truly valuable opponents." The blonde stranger closed his eyes and after a while, he opened them. "I know now. Study the magic circle under the sarcophagus as soon as possible. It's necessary for us to go to the other dimensional world of blood and fire mentioned in the inscription. The things there can indeed pose a significant threat to heaven. And, do you need a valuable opponent? I'll find it for you now." Then, the wizard and the prince mentioned by the wizard disappeared into place. Only a gentle breeze blows gently. Chapter 7. The Man of Destruction and Wendy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After cleaning up 3 temples, Dumu bid farewell to Lisa and wandered around the wilderness, citing his desire to look around. It was a considerable surprise to be able to obtain the weapon Doom had previously used from the Abyss Order. But it does not rule out the possibility of becoming frightened in the future. After all, Dumu only had a super shotgun and a ruling sword before. If the Abyss cult received more powerful fire god cannons, rocket launchers, crossbows, and even BFGs, the consequences would be unimaginable. Although these weapons have no effect on Dumu, if it were other humans, the focus, it would be super nightmare mode. The fierce man slaughtered the people of Chiochio while watching the scenery. It's very comfortable, and you can even pick raspberries as a small snack. It's really good, just like being on the earth, eating snacks, playing games, watching the scenery in the game, comparing the real world, and then roast about the greenhouse effect. The next day, I continued to drive a used car with thousands of dollars to work, listening to the hiss of the engine that is going to be offline at any time. Now it has become a bubble. I wanted to touch the mobile phone in my pocket, but I found the hard dark green armor. In Dumu's memory, he was just too tired yesterday. When he got home, he just charged his phone and prepared to lie down for a while before cooking dinner for himself. However, as soon as he lay down, he fell asleep because he was too tired. When he woke up, it was pitch black all around, and a voice in his mind told him that he had died suddenly due to overwork and overwork every day. Now, as an unlucky person, he was bound to an equally unlucky system and sent to a new world. Because he shared life with the system, in order to ensure his continued survival, the system gave the Doom Destroyer all his physical fitness and some of his weapons during his slumber. But now it has been discovered that on the continent of Tivit, the Abyssal Order has weapons of destruction warriors in their hands, and the inscriptions in their mouths are not clear how they obtained and knew about them. However, he knows one thing very well in his heart, that this can only be the cause of hell. It is learned from the system that the Dark Lord Davos has been killed by the Destroyer, and the hellish plane cannot spread to Tivit. Therefore, since hell cannot pass through, there is only one possibility, which is that to some extent, the Abyss cult already knows how to go to hell, or they have a way to summon things that exist in hell but are not hellish creations, such as Doom's weapons. So, a bold guess is that since the Abyss Order can obtain a weapon belonging to the Destroyer, they can obtain a second and third weapon. It seems that the work of tracking the Abyss cult also needs to start. Damn it, I've only been here for half a day, and so many things have happened. I really hope that the Abyss cult can be more conscious, return those weapons to me directly, and no longer contact hell. What kind of spring and autumn dream am I having? While muttering to himself, Dumu headed to the symbol of the Mond hero located on the windy ground. As he approached the big tree, Dumu saw a monster floating in mid-air surrounded by a strange shell. The core of the wind. And the green-barred Wendy I saw under the tree, and the screen next to Wendy. I happened to hear Wendy say, "It's been a long time since I came back here. It seems like something is very unhappy with my arrival. Yo, Ing, Pai Meng, you're here." Waving towards the two food caught their attention, then pointing to the core of the strong wind and asking, "What's that? Is it a monster?" "It looks like it should be." Ing drew his sword. "Magic, leave it to me." He took out his super shotgun, used his claws to pull himself up into the air, fired 2 shotguns with his face, and then relied on the reaction force of the jet hole to keep himself stuck in the air. Then, he quickly thrust his face again, ejecting the blade of destruction from his left hand and cutting the core of the wind core in half. Finally, it landed steadily. Wow, so handsome. With such a agile and efficient combat style, you must be the Doom Warrior on the screen. Wendy leaned in. "Are you? Oh, did you forget to introduce yourself? My name is Wendy, and I am the best bard in the world." Wendy flicked the harp and made a wink at Dum. "Hello Wendy, my name is Dumo. I am an ordinary stranger without any highlights. Do you want to eat an apple? I just picked it." Dumo took out an apple. Wendy. Okay, Pai Meng. Shall do those who see you have a share." Dumu said, Good. I've picked a lot of them." Ing. Shall do, I just. Dumu. Take it, this apple is very sweet, okay. Okay. Ing took the apple, but only held it in her hand. "Speaking of which, I just discovered some Abyss mages and a senior member of the Abyss cult who looks very powerful while cleaning up 2 temples. Do you have any clues? Is the Abyss master?" Ming only encountered a few hill people while cleaning the temple. And didn't find the Abyss master. Pai Meng sat down on Dumu's shoulder, leaning his back against the shoulder cannon. "I see. While he was sleeping, Twalin was constantly tormented by black blood, making him restless. So, after waking up in pain, Twalin's spirit was corrupted by the curse of the Abyss mage. Great, now there's another reason to beat up the Abyss cult. By the way, the reason I beat them up in the temple before was because they wanted to use weapons that used to belong to me to deal with me." Dumu took out his revolver shotgun. "Did you defeat them in the end?" Pai Meng asked nervously. "Don't worry, this group of guys sent 4 different attributes of Abyss mages and a guy who appeared to be a senior member of the Abyss cult to surround me. If it were anyone else, they might really fall for it. As for their fate, except for the only Abyss mage I let go and let him pass the message to threaten their boss behind the scenes, everyone else was torn to pieces by me." Dumu showed off his revolver shotgun in his hand. "Look, this is their reliance, now in my hands." "Ha! Xiao Du is really amazing." Pai Meng patted Dumu's helmet. "What a powerful and confident speech. So, this ordinary and unremarkable stranger, would you be willing to wish me a helping hand in saving Twalin?" Wendy approached Dumo and looked up at him. If it's you, I'd be willing to. You look very familiar with Twalin, after all, we saw you talking to Twalin before." "Well, before that, I was helping Twalin clear the curse, but you interrupted me. As a result, not only did I fail to help Twalin clear the curse, but I was also eroded by the toxicity of the Abyss." Wendy said pitifully. "System. Absorbable energy detected." Upon hearing the system's words, Dumo immediately placed his hand on Wendy's chest. Then, Wendy's body emitted some dark purple energy flows, which flowed onto the arm of the armor and then disappeared into it. "This power is..." Wendy widened her eyes, then he gently caressed the man's arm with both hands, closed his eyes, and the flow of dark purple energy increased, mixed with some dark red energy flow. Ignoring the energy flow, Ing saw the posture of the two and grabbed Parman, who was unaware of the truth, from the shoulder of the fierce man. She silently took 2 steps back and looked at them in silence. At this moment, perhaps Ing hopes to have a photo-taking machine on hand, so she can capture this beautiful scene, laughs. It's really refreshing, thank you. After a while, Wendy opened her eyes and patted Dumo's arm with a smile. Thank you, although I don't know why I was able to absorb these toxins as energy, these energies have indeed strengthened my body, although only a little bit. If these can help you, then you must also be able to absorb the energy in Twallin's body, which has been corroded by black blood. It's not too late. Let's go to Mond Cathedral quickly. Wendy grabbed Dumo's arm and was already pressed against him, staring at him with his big talking eyes. Dumu turned his head to look at Ing. After receiving Ying's nod and answer, Dumu also stated that he had no problem at all. Okay. Chapter 8. The Man of Destruction and the Piano of the Sky. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A few people arrived outside the cathedral where the sky piano was stored. Dumu did not choose to enter the cathedral, but chose to wait outside the door. He knows that Ing and Wendy won't succeed. So he had to wait until the screen came out and inform him that he wanted to steal the piano, then leave with them and inquire about the way to the Goethe Hotel. After obtaining the Qin, Warlock Lei Ing will definitely let the lady take over first, and then store it in the stronghold of the fools. So, why not snatch the sky Qin from the lady's hand before they send it to the stronghold after obtaining it? In this way, Ing can run less distance. The two people who quickly borrowed the piano successfully failed. After coming out, Ing immediately merged with Du Muhui and informed him that he was going to steal the piano tonight. Dumu nodded and said, Ing, your figure is quite petite. I am too big, and those knights are not blind. I am good at fighting, but I am not capable of sneaking into such things. It is obvious that I am not capable of it, but remember to call me before you go to the cathedral at night. Perhaps there is something I can help. I always feel that your motive for saying this is impure. Parman said disdainfully, holding his chest in both hands. This resulted in three people's expressions of astonishment. That's right, I'll go buy something to cushion my stomach and also inquire about a place. Where is it? Pai Meng drifted up to Dumu. Dumu hugged Peman and gently pinched his little face, saying, I'm going to inquire about the location of the Goethe Hotel. I heard that the fools want to get involved in the Twalin incident and take over the defense of the city of Mond. I really like the free city of Mond and don't want other countries with ulterior motives to interfere in Mond's internal affairs. Mond city belongs to the Monds. And it is said that the wind god Barbatos is very cute. If I can help Mond, I wonder if I can see him. Hey, the wind god Barbatos has long disappeared from Mond, so your plan may be in vain. Wendy poked Dumo, who was not covered in armor and had his upper arm exposed outside. That's okay, after all, I already know an equally cute Wendy. And Traveler Ing. It's really nice, I already have two friends. What about Pai Meng? Isn't Pai Meng a friend? Isn't Pai Meng cute? Faced with a semi-transparent mask directly facing each other, Dumo reluctantly took out a small bread from behind. Parman. Of course Parman is the best friend. Pai Meng was eating bread and sitting on the shoulder of the fierce man, shouting, okay, two living treasures. Ing Fu sighed. It's pretty good too, at least the journey won't be boring. Wendy patted Ying's shoulder. After inquiring about the location of the Goethe Hotel, Dumo had a big meal at the Deer Hunters restaurant around 5 p.m. with Ing, Wendy, and Paimon. Of course, Mora was found by Dumo after bidding farewell to Sister Lisa and opening a box in the wilderness. After searching for hundreds of moles, all of them were used up here, and finally Xiao Peiming's stomach was filled. For unnecessary exchange rate conversion, I drew an equal sign between the Mora in this book and RMB, where 1 Mora equals 1 renminbi. When I used to be a social animal, I was a poor person, but at least I had 2 sons in my pocket. Now I'm not a social animal anymore, I'm still a poor person. I took a little out of my pocket, even cleaner than my face. Under low pressure, the fierce man and Ing arrived at the entrance of Mond Cathedral together. Ing entered, while Wendy and Dummel waited at the door for good news. Of course, one is good news, and the other is good news. On the way, the bored fierce man played with Wendy's braids. Is my braid very interesting? Wendy asked puzzled. The hand feels smooth and very comfortable, but unfortunately, it's a boy. That is to say, if it's a girl. You overthink it. If it were a girl, I wouldn't do such a thing at all. Dummel rubbed Wendy's head and made his hair messy. You don't like me, do you? Wendy suddenly leaned in front of Dum. Cough cough, how could it be? You overthink it, you're a boy. How could I be attracted to boys? Oh, it's not that boys are attracted, is it? So your relationship with travelers? Wendy showed a disdainful expression. We're just friends. Dumu suddenly calmed down. Oh, I see. I understand. What do you understand now? Guess what? Are you trying to say that if you guess, I'll tell you? Hey, at this moment, Dumu saw a purple shadow flashing by not far away. He knew that he must have successfully led the foolish sorcerer Laying to take the Sky Qin and was successfully discovered. The underground cultural relic storage room must be in chaos now, and staying here is meaningless. The Qin is no longer here. Pinching Wendy's face, Dummel bid him farewell and said, Wendy, I suddenly remembered that I still have something to do. I'll leave first and meet you at the Angel's Gift Tavern. After speaking, Dummel took out his super shotgun and used its hooks to grab onto a high building, causing him to constantly sway around the city. He quickly and silently moved to the building near the Goethe Hotel, relying on the path he heard during the day. There, he saw purple shadows flashing into a window. System. The building has been scanned and there is a high energy response inside the target window. The optimal path has been given, access has been granted. Under the HUD display of the helmet, the hook claw is marked as a high brightness object, and the same one marked as high brightness is the window of the hotel. Nailing the window with hooks and claws made some sounds that seemed to startle the people inside. A purple figure appeared in front of the window and was about to open it to check the situation. A green object collided through the window, and the huge inertia continued to weaken after Dumu broke the window, causing Laying Warlock to press his foot against the wall. Then, Dumu stopped under the action of the two omnidirectional nozzles of the system installed jet backpack on his back. Then he met the lady of the 8th executive seat, who was holding the sky piano and had a shocked expression on his face. Invaders, dare to come here. You're really brave. Are you ready to accept the cost of trespassing on the fool's mansion? After the lady finished speaking, she was quickly approached by Dumu, who grabbed her neck and lifted her up without even releasing any elemental combat skills. The tremendous force made the lady's breathing difficult, and the powerful force made the lady make no effective resistance at all. She could only use her long legs to randomly push the air in the air. As time passed, the woman's resistance gradually diminished. As she watched her eyes roll and her tongue spit out, Dumusong opened her neck and allowed her to fall freely. The piano of the sky, handed over. After a fierce cough, the woman breathed in the sweet air and glanced at the table beside her. On the table was the sky piano, and the lady didn't even have time to hide it, so she let Dumu break in. So Dumu walked towards Qin, but when he took the first step, he felt a chill under his feet. He looked down and saw that the lady had frozen his legs, trying to restrict his movement. Then, the lady threw an ice cone over. Unfortunately, the lady who has not fully recovered from suffocation can only throw attacks like ice cones and freeze Dumu's legs, which is a level of elemental attack. If it were an ordinary person, she would suffer a heavy blow, but unfortunately, she found the wrong opponent. I saw the fierce man grab the ice cone and crush it with force. Then, the ice that froze his legs was like tofu, and with a little force, the fierce man broke free and stomped on the floor, shattering some of the ice. Dumu walked to the table where the sky piano was placed in front of the lady's ghostly expression. He took the sky piano and came back to the lady. I know your plan as the Queen of Ice, but I don't care. I came to snatch the Qin just because of that giant dragon, Babato's divine heart. I won't stop you from obtaining it, but if you plan to stop me from saving that big guy. Haha. The force I used when I pinched you just now was less than 10%, Then he leaned over to the lady and whispered softly in her ear, you wouldn't want me to use stronger power on you, would you? The lady nodded nervously. Very good, pleasant cooperation. After speaking, Dumu left through the window. Leave the lady alone in the room, shaking with her head in her arms. Surprisingly. The man on the inscription. After obtaining the sky piano, Dumu swung around in the city with his hook and claw, and soon arrived at the knights. He broke into the office of the piano captain, inexplicably playing and drinking coffee while grading documents, looking up at his piano captain in confusion. Hey! May I ask? What's up? Let's talk about it later. Now let's go to the angel's gift with me, and the opportunity to save Twalin is right there. What? It's not too late, let's set off immediately. The two quickly arrived at the angel's gift. Pushing open the door, Dumu entered the tavern with a panting Qin. Xiao Du, come here. Qin. Qin captain. Pai Meng was about to float onto Dumu's shoulder when he saw the Qin behind Dumu. Pai Meng immediately drifted back behind Ying. Don't worry, this one is just Qin, not the acting leader of the Knights Order Qin, after all, it's already after work time. Then, he took out the sky piano from behind and handed it to Wendy. This is. I see. Did you search for the Goethe Hotel before just for now? Thank you, Xiao Du, the piano of the sky. What's the situation, Mr. Doom? You only told me there's an opportunity to save Twalin here, but you didn't tell me that you. Oh, let me explain. Wendy gently plucked the strings and the sky piano made a pleasant sound. Qin also temporarily calmed down. Dumu found a seat and sat down. The minstrel plucked the strings of the sky Qin and began to tell the story. Chapter 9. The Man of Destruction and Twalin. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Finally. You can take a little rest. Dumu left the tavern and walked out of the city. In Wendy's poetry singing, the head of the piano band also roughly understood Wendy's purpose, although she did not agree with the idea that the fierce man broke into the residence of the fools to seize the sky Qin, and smiled and punished the fierce man Mora as compensation to the fools. Later, she did not formally appoint the fierce man as an honorary knight like Ying. If Ying is the number one tool man of the knights, then the fierce man must be the number one thug of the knights, of course, under the premise of using the title of honorary knight. Moreover, due to Dumu's acquisition of the sky Qin, Qin approved Dumu's leave of absence on his first day in office. The paper was provided by Mr. Dialek and written by Mr. Dialek. After work, Qin approved it, which was both formal and informal. After completing these tasks, the fierce man went to a clean place outside the city and lay down to count the stars. After counting, I fell asleep. The next day, as usual, we went to slaughter the Chocho people and the abyss mages in the Chocho tribe. Some abyssal mages run away when they see him from afar, and some even recite spells. Those who recite incantations unexpectedly all stand out. With their fingers on the ground, their bodies still stand like individuals. Would calling for a split action be more appropriate? However, sometimes those Chocho people would run away when they saw him, but there were exceptions. He successfully attracted several Chocho people while stewing meat in a large pot in the wild. So he had a delicious meal of stewed pork with potatoes with his new friends from Chocho. Pork is provided by wild boars wandering in the wild, who rush towards Dumu when they see a fierce man and without exception, fall into a baby-like sleep. A happy day left happily again, and in the evening, the fierce man successfully taught an abyssal mage the art of tearing his abdominal muscles, transforming him into a torn one. He then drove him out and occupied his bed, taking possession of his new sprout of the earth's veins. However, due to his inability to release the abyssal mage's magic, he became a new sprout of the earth's veins, fragment *3. After sleeping in the highest room of the Chocho tribe for a night, Dumu walked slowly towards Mond City, resembling a middle-aged man with a key hanging from his waist and a cup of goji berry tea in his hand. But just as we were about to reach Mond City, Wendy's voice came from the wind. "Dudu, we're at Dawn Winery, come here to find us." Unfortunately, Dumu had to exit the economic mode and enter the sports mode, ignoring that "do-do." Running quickly all the way to Chensi Winery, Dumuying and his group met. At this point, they had already decided to summon the East Wind Dragon Twalin from Star Picking Cliff, and Wendy called Dumu over to rest here before going to Star Picking Cliff. If the summoning of the Wind Dragon failed to purify him, Dumu could also serve as a backup, retaining Twalin and directly absorbing the black blood and abyss poison from Twalin's body. If there are only a few of them, the chances of retaining Twalin are not high, and they are also very likely to fall into a tough battle. But now, with the addition of Dumu, the chances of retaining Twalin have greatly increased. It can even be said that it is almost impossible to fail, and the most common reason is that Dumu himself has acrophobia. However, after taking the Twalin flight for unprotected high-altitude skydiving and playing Spider-Man Tivit Continent, as seen in the previous chapter where Dum swung between buildings in Mond City using the hooks and claws of a super shotgun, the symptoms of acrophobia have been greatly reduced. To be on the safe side, Dumu borrowed a few vomit bags from Mr. Dilek and stored them in the tactical belt behind his waist. Then he and Wendy went first to the Star Picking Cliff. "I actually wanted to ask, the day before yesterday, when we had dinner before, you spent all the mora. Why can you still take out a mora tonight? You ask this. That was when I broke into the fool's camp and touched it from a sorcerer named Laying. She pinned the money bag on her waist and knocked him unconscious, so I took it with me. That's why I have mora. Oh, I also touched a money bag from the boss at the fool's camp. Ah, this. Friend, this is too outrageous for you, right? It's okay to just grab the piano. And. Oh, it's okay, didn't the leader of the piano group receive the compensation for the fools from me?" Dumu waved his hand. "But that's only one mora. Wait, that mora is still the fool's own money. Wendy, you don't understand now, did you? The piano of the sky was taken away by the fools first, right? So they committed theft, and it was the Sky Chin played by Lord Fengshen himself, which belongs to the country's material cultural heritage and precious cultural relics. This is something they should wear in prison. However, our beautiful and kind-hearted acting commander of the Knights Order did not punish them severely, but only temporarily symbolically punished them with some mora. When I retrieved the cultural relics, I went a little too far because they were a scheming diplomatic mission of the Winter Kingdom. Therefore, the leader of the Chin group punished me with one mora as compensation to them. You see, the whole matter is well-founded, and you can't find any fault with it. Of course there's a problem. Ing went to steal the piano first. This is different. We stole the piano to save Twalin. If we follow the proper procedure, it may take a long time, so we have a reason to take a different path. We have no choice but to steal the piano. Fools steal the piano because they have ghosts in their hearts. Is that okay, Wendy? Although it all sounds like a problem, I just can't pick a thorn. Wendy spread out her hand. At dusk, everyone came one after another. Wendy prepared the piano, and Dumu stood not far from Wendy. The others stood not far behind Wendy. With the pleasant sound of Wendy plucking the strings, the direction of the wind gradually changed, and a huge shadow quietly descended. It's you. So far, there's nothing to talk about, Twalin said calmly as he looked at Wendy. Am I mistaken? Your gaze seems to be recalling this song. Twalin said nothing more, as if he was lost in memories. They can really communicate. Qin and Ing whispered in conversation. But just then, an icy blue light flashed past and rushed towards Wendy. Dumo, who had been squatting nearby, suddenly burst into action and rushed to Wendy to catch the attack with his back. This attack was fruitless and instead completely exposed one's own existence. It is unclear how the Abyss cult trains these Abyss mages. Don't be fooled by him, pitiful. What? You. How could you be here? The secret weapon we obtained didn't defeat you. Are you saying this? Dumu took out the revolver shotgun. This. The Abyss mage was so shocked that he couldn't say a complete sentence. At this moment, Twalin was still recalling that the Abyss mage's seduction of Twalin was interrupted by a fierce man, and he was now in extreme shock and panic, forgetting even to run away. So the fierce man quickly approached the bewildered abyssal mage in the air with his spout, and under the gaze of a few people below, he drew his ruling sword and split the abyssal mage in half from the center. The movement of slaying the wizard woke up Twalin's memories. He saw Dumo in the air and a few people around Wendy, shouting angrily, "Babados! Are these people here with you to hunt me?" It's not like that. Unfortunately, after saying these words, the fierce man slashed and exploded. The blood clot condensed on the dragon's back, resembling dark purple crystals. A large amount of dark purple and dark red energy flow escaped from the middle, all of which flowed into the energy collection components of the Dumu armor arm and chest. The dragon roared, seeming to feel immense pain as these clumps were destroyed. But at the same time, the dragon's originally cloudy eyes became slightly clearer. After chopping the first clot, Dumu immediately switched to a super shotgun, grabbed another blood clot, quickly approached and fired, but unfortunately did not explode. So Dumo made up a punch and successfully shattered the clot. More energy flows into the energy collection components in the chest and arms, and the dragon's eyes are completely clear. Babados. It's okay, Twalin. It's already okay. The dragon fell to the ground, lowered its head, and Wendy gently caressed Twalin's face. Let's go first. These two old friends must have a lot to talk about, so we won't disturb them. Dumo finished speaking and leaned over to Dialek. Dialek, there's something I want to ask you about. Call me Dialek, come on, what's up? I want to inquire about the Abyss cult's discovery of new weapons. To be continued. Chapter 10. The Man of Destruction and Mond's Strongest Combat Power. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I will use my intelligence network to help you keep an eye out. After receiving the consent of Mr. Dialek, the fierce man went alone to rest on the grass near the Wolf Run. Accompanied by the scent of green grass, the fierce man gradually fell into a deep sleep. The dragon disaster has come to an end, and there is basically no need for Dumu to intervene in the following events, such as the Fool Crowd chest robbery incident in front of the cathedral. Although Dumu can help Wendy, it's not necessary. But even so, Dumu still needs to go back to Mond. Staying outdoors in the wilderness is not a long-term thing. What if a wild beast comes? Although it is indeed possible to kill all these beasts that are close to oneself, the extinction plan of the Tivit species is not what the fierce man wants to do, and if he gets used to it, what will happen to humans who will be close to him in the future? Can't we just stage a scene of killing someone in my dream? So, having a temporary fixed archive in Mond. A fixed rest point is important. For this, Dumu needs money. Staying in a hotel requires a lot of money, and Ing did not say how long he will stay in Mond, so he needs to register as an adventurer at Mond's Adventure Club. After arriving in Mond, he completed the adventurer application procedures and, as there was no suitable combat commission for him, wandered around the city. He went to the Angel's Gift Bar and ordered a glass of milk. Then he saw Ing, Wendy, and Kaya discussing something with everyone. Carrying milk, they arrived at a dark corner not far from them, drinking milk while listening to their discussion on the topic of Mond's strongest combat power. There are now the Qin Troop Leader faction, the Knight Hero faction, the Wind God faction, the Red-Clothed Little Girl faction, and the Destruction Warrior faction of Ing and others. If you want to say Mond has the strongest combat power, it must be Captain Qin. I saw Captain Qin strike down a Ruins guard with one blow. This is a member of the Knight's Order, but this still requires weapons, my friend, but he punched an abyssal mage into pieces. Wendy took a sip of wine and shrugged. I think it's still the Knight Hero. I heard people say that the Knight Hero saved civilians from the Abyss cult. This is bartender Charles, who rushed over at the sound. Knight Hero. But that's it. That hellish disaster. The destroyer, but with his own strength, he faced the deadly magical attacks of the Abyss cult and their secret weapons, killing almost all members of the Abyss cult, leaving only one. The one left behind was released to spread rumors and threaten the upper echelons of the Abyss cult. These are what I heard from Miss Lisa, the librarian of the Knight's Order. Kaya picked up the cup containing afternoon death and took a sip. That wind god Barbatos must be Mond's strongest fighting force. It's not his old man who blows away the snow, but there's no beautiful Mond now. This is a loyal believer of Barbatos. Barbatos, who had not managed Mond's affairs for many years, disappeared for many years. Now, he is just the weakest of the 7 gods. Perhaps a fool's executor can beat him down. And my friend, before coming to Mond, according to the records in the literature, had already killed the creation gods of hell, heaven, and even the whole world with his own strength. Barbatos may just be a child in front of him. Stepping on and holding on to the wind god like this, Dumu almost froze in Bumbu, but in the end, he restrained the act of crushing the cup and listened to the wind god's speech completely. Hiss. Your friend. Is he really human? Everyone took a breath of cold air, and if it continued like this, Tivit's entry into the greenhouse era was just around the corner. Xiao Du is like a fake human. Pai Meng floated back and forth in the air. I. If you want to say Mond has the strongest combat power, it must be a little girl in a red dress. She changed the entire landscape of Mount Wangfeng on her own. This was Six-Finger Joseph. It's impossible to think about it. Can the little girl change the entire landscape of Mount Wangfeng? This is really the funniest joke of the year for all of Mond, the crowd sneered. But I really saw it at that time. I was hiding in the bushes, and a little girl in a red dress ran away, leaving only the unrecognizable Watchwind Mountain. Although I know it's unbelievable, it's true. I think that little girl must have the most powerful treasure in Almond. The members of the knights present were lost in thought. Is it the most powerful treasure of all Mond? At this moment, a voice sounded behind Wendy. Wendy turned her head and placed a big hand on his head. The strongest combat power of Mond City, it's really interesting. After a few hours' absence, did you start thinking about me? Wendy, I never thought of participating in such a wonderful combat power competition. Is this the destroyer? He looks very strong. Look at that arm. Thicker than my thighs. The two enthusiastic citizens who had previously discussed whispered to each other. Yeah. This destroyer looks much stronger and more secure than those members of the Knight's Order. The fierce man pinched Wendy's small face and then pulled up Kaya to let him out. Little girl in red, you know something, right? Yes, if nothing unexpected happens, that little girl in red is the Spark Knight of the Knights. Koli. Kaya touched her chin. The topic they are discussing is very dangerous. If the Abyss Order finds out about it, obtains her treasure, and uses it against Mond. Tomorrow is the day when Koli leaves the confinement room. Koli will definitely go out of the city to find her treasure. That's right. I hope I can entrust you tomorrow. If you want to entrust, how about going to the Adventurer Association? Dumu showed his adventurer ID. I see. Are you aiming for this? Ah. Even the strongest person will be bound by Mora's hands and feet. Life is not easy, sighed the fierce man. Okay, I'll go publish the commission now, come with me. Miss Catherine was a little confused by the actions of one end publishing the commission and the other accepting it. But the two of them went through the normal process, so Miss Catherine smiled and entrusted the task to Dumu. Then the two returned to the angel's gift. The discussion on combat power is over, but everyone in the tavern is aware of the existence of the Doom Warrior and subconsciously regards the fierce man as Mond's strongest combat power. After pinching Wendy's face for a while, the fierce man left Mond City and went to the wilderness to find a flat place to lie down on the spot, falling asleep. To be continued.